All right, I think that I'm recording here. Hello, how are you guys? Good morning. It is Thursday, May 7th, 2026. And, you know, I, it's a new day. It's a new day, it's a fresh start. And I always enjoy waking up in the morning, especially um, when you're going through something or if you experience a loss in trading. Like, to wake up in the morning, make yourself a pot of coffee if you drink coffee, or you know, have toast, or go for a walk, go to the gym. Like, you feel much better than you did yesterday. Sometimes you go into the night, you're thinking about the mistakes you made that day, and you're wondering how are you going to get over it. And then all of a sudden, the next day arrives. This morning, the sun rises, and it's your natural reset button. It's your natural reset button. And no matter if it's in trading or if it's in life in general, the morning has always been my reset button. It's always been an opportunity to, you know, make things better or get over the things in the past, to start afresh and anew. So that's what it was for me this morning. Yesterday, I had a big loss, a heavy loss. And if you've been following along with me ever since I started making my journal public, I've been telling myself, Shantae, when it hits your stop loss, you want to get out of the market. We need to reduce the sizes of our losses. It's not necessarily our trading that is the problem. It's when I compound the situation, like when I compound my loss. I don't accept the loss. I jump right back in the market. I lose more and stuff. So we're gonna go over that today. But yeah, yesterday was a very, very tough day for me. I was like, oh man. But woke up this morning and said, hey, I feel a lot better. Anyways, let's move forward here. Yesterday I did not do well. I went into the market with a sell bias. The first trade for 16 tick gain was executed, and I immediately stepped into the second trade with a 49.65 tick take profit stop loss. As you can see from the chart, the market hit my stop loss. If I believed I had such a good setup, I checked for everything, and I was confident in executing both trades. But when I got stopped out, I was still naive enough to think my trade idea could still work. So I began shorting again shortly after my stop loss was hit. I have said countless times that when the market hits my stop loss, that means I am wrong and need to exit the market. Yesterday proved that no matter how right I think I am, no matter how confident I am in my analysis, no matter how much I've crossed my T's and dotted my I's, if it hits my stop loss, I am wrong. I could have backing evidence to support my conviction. Still, you can be wrong. The market never retraced back to the market open, as I anticipated, even though the entire time I believe it eventually would. It was a very painful lesson to learn because I used both my profits and drawdown to chase my conviction, and I was left holding the bag. I can't say more than that. I can't, enough said on that. It explains exactly what happened yesterday. As you can see on this chart, I did a little screenshot from TradingView. This is the XPX, but it mimics the ES. And that little dotted line, or the little light blue gray dotted line, or maybe you can see the pointer. This is the 9:30 open. Again, I had a sell bias. I was thinking that maybe we would even get a strong push lower. But when the market opened at 9:30, in under a minute, I was able to grab 16 ticks. Once I executed on that trade, I jumped in thinking that I can grab that the market would continue to push lower. But like I've said in the past, like this market, and I said yesterday too, I was just like, you know what, my confidence is not strong. Seeing that the market is up almost 1% in the pre-market, that was like 6:49 a.m. Eastern time yesterday. And I was like, damn, what's going on? We all know that the headline came out that Trump decided to delay or to stop, assisting the ships through the Strait of Hormuz. But the market just continues to grind higher. Any sell bias is really being challenged. Any sell bias is being challenged. The market just continues to grind higher. And me, because when I do my analysis, I was just so convinced, very confident. All my back testing, all my market replay, all my notes. I have tons and tons of notes. All my notes, everything. I was just like, well, maybe it's added volatility, or something like that. Maybe, and we just had a similar situation where it hit my stop loss, and I still think that the market is going to play out in my favor. When that 65 tick gap that I put for myself, anytime I do a trade, I give myself a room of 65 ticks. If it hits it, I'm wrong. That my thesis, my analysis, whatever I thought was going to happen, it's incorrect. Something is, I'm just wrong. I can't make excuses for myself. Oh, maybe there's just a little bit of added volatility, or maybe, whatever the case may be, but, it needs to go up and touch that line or whatever, touch the previous day's high or, whatever the case, then it's going to retrace. No, you're wrong. Did the market ever come back to this open? To the 9th? No, not even, no, it didn't. I was like, I told myself, I was like, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait until it comes back and touch the 9:30 open, and then I could probably re-enter the trade. But you see the next 30 minutes, you get some wicking going on and stuff like that, playing with me. I think I jumped in right around there in that wick. Jumped there, try to short the market. It retraces. It's like now I'm, like as I'm watching my trades, it's like you can almost feel it. Like you can almost feel it like you're wrong. Like just get out. You're dead wrong, man. That shit is not going down. It's going to grind higher. And they trick us. Drop a little bit and then it pushes back up. I've seen this so many times recently. And then it just continues to pound higher. So yesterday was one of those moments that I said, you know what? I give up. Sometimes some of us, we learn in different ways. Most of my life, I have learned the hard way. Someone could give me advice. I can go about my own way. I'm going to do what I want. Someone could give a suggestion, an opinion. I'll still go on about it my own way. And I shared in my previous video, I'll give an example of like when I enlisted in the Marine Corps. And I was so gung-ho on my athletic ability because I grew up playing Pop Warner, played football in high school, I went to Humboldt State, was going to try to walk on at Humboldt State, trying to play football. Like, I just thought that I was just as very athletic kid. And so when I went to enlist and I'm standing next to my, and I have, a group of us I'm part of this group, and, maybe they can swim. Maybe they could, maybe somewhere in their family, they have experience shooting a weapon. They've gone hunting, or maybe their father, their grandfather or father or cousin or whatever, like took them out hunting. Like they have some sort of experience with arms and rope, whatever the case may be. I didn't. I was just a person that played football. But I can tell that the people in my group, they were like really passionate. They were like, oh, eyeballs click, like this is, I want to be special forces. We go training out there on the beach. I swam out there in the middle of the, out there in the middle of the ocean. And it sounded cool. It sounded exciting. We're watching videos in the recruiter's office. And it sounded cool. It looked cool. That's what I want to do. But when you get into the military, and I'm sorry to like go off in a different direction. I'm going to try to make it very quick. But when you get in the military, you realize that it is not about how strong you are. They're going to get you strong. They're going to get you strong. They have a whole program in place to get you fit and to get you in shape. You don't have to go in there. I mean, they don't want you to be like so damn overweight. But if you weren't an athletic person, but you maintained a decent body weight, they'll get you up. They'll get you in shape for sure. All the hiking, all the walking, all the pull-ups, all the push-ups, all the running, all that. You're going to, after boot camp, you're going to be in shape. It's the mental part that I was not ready for. The obedience, listening to people, following orders, something that I was not used to at all. I was not used to that. The people in the group were. They knew how to listen. They know how to take an order. So they were able to progress. The military was easy for them. But I didn't have that type of background. Yeah, I had a coach, but I was I was a class clown. I wasn't the best kid in my class. I was talking, I had a bunch of marks and stuff like that, satisfactory. I thought that if I'm just athletic, that the world is going to bend to me. And that's not the case. That wasn't the case. And I'm going to try to tie that back into here. Like, where was I going with that story? Right. I had a strong conviction. Right? I said, I'm convinced, I'm confident this is going to hit, this is going to work out. My stop loss is like my peers, my counselor, my monitor, my boss, whoever it may be, saying that you're wrong, or do it this way, or I don't know about that. That's what my stop loss is. To get out, to reassess the situation, to reevaluate the situation, to take the day off and say, okay, I was wrong. All right. I'm not as smart as I think I am. All right. Okay. It's a learning opportunity, right? All that stuff, all that following directions, all that obedience, all that, like listening to others, like taking in advice, all that is just making you that much more wiser. You could completely isolate yourself and not be associated with anybody, not, just Do your own thing, like how I was doing it when I was younger. And you're gonna learn things the hard way. You're gonna learn, you know, you're gonna learn. Either way, you're going to learn. My way of learning things was a little bit painful. I put a lot of obstacles in my way. I took a lot of detours, you know, to achieve, to reach goals. I didn't finish my degree until 2024, my first degree in finance. I was all over the place. And had I just learned how to be a person that studied and did my homework early on as a kid, rather than just focusing on athletics, when it came to the education part, I would have buckled down better. But I went into university with my video games, with my Xbox, you know, and procrastinated a lot. And it cost me. It cost me to the things that I desired. I didn't grow up saying I wanted to be a trader. I wanted to be a physical therapist. I wanted to be a physician or physician assistant, assistant. Sorry, those were the things that I desired. I didn't have a desire, trading. Who did I learn from? Susie Orman. Susie Orman said, "Hey, just finance is easy. Getting rich is easy. Just dollar cost average. Buy stocks." At the time, there was mutual funds. You don't want to front load. Buy low cost index funds, dollar cost average. You'll be set. All I wanted was that job that was going to pay me, at the time, $50,000. And once you get your professional, like become a doctor or whatever, $100,000. I said, wow, I can afford a nice home in San Diego, have a good, get paid well, and buy some assets. But there was a lot of things that I lacked. And now that I have kids, I'm on their behind. I'm not like a tiger or anything like that. But I definitely sit down with my child and I try to exercise. He can have all the athletic capability. But I also try to train that other side, his brain, to be like, you got to learn how to focus, sit down, do your work, little by little every day. Read a page or two each day, 365 days in a year. Let's complete some books, English books, because we live in Spain, so his first language is Spanish. English books, Spanish books. Go to the library, check out. Let's learn, so that you can learn from my mistakes and I can make that path easier for you. That's all. I ain't got to be violent. I ain't got to yell. I just speak to him like a young adult. Because time is going by fast. He's already 7. And the other one behind him, he's going to be 5. And time is just going. It's moving. It's not stopping for nobody. Sometimes I think like, I can wait. I can wait till I become a 6-figure trader. I can wait till I become a millionaire. And then I can, you got to be hybrid. You got to do both. Like, yeah, while I'm getting losses and struggling and trading, I still have to have enough mental energy and clarity and not be selfish and be like, I still got other jobs that I have to do. I still got to be there for my kid. I still, I cannot, because there's been moments early on where I get a loss and I don't want to talk to nobody. Now my kid is sitting there watching television all day after school. Nobody's paying him attention because my significant other, she's hustling and bustling. She's either working at the hospital or have Pilates clients. I can't really ask of her to do anything more. She's already paying all the bills in the household. It's up to me. And I used to feel so damn bad. But I didn't have that. I was just mentally exhausted. And I said, you know what? We can't do that anymore. We got to keep moving. And it's uncomfortable. You're going to be up through the night. Before Edvita went to Germany the other day to attend a conference, I was trying to get all my analysis done the night before so that I don't have to worry about it. And if I need to trade from my phone, I at least have all my information ready. If we come back and there's an hour before the market open, at least I'm already prepared. And she came into my office, which is my kids' room. She came into my office and she was just like, "Why are you still up? It's 1 or 2 in the morning." And I'm just like, I'm trying to get this done. I got work, Go to bed. You're going to be driving us for an hour and a half. I need you to be rested. And you got to drive back. So you got 3 hours of driving in front of you. I need you to be rested. But and my mom like, I don't give a damn. Coffee, we're good. Come on. A cold shower in the morning, I'm okay. Till she almost unplugged, till she turned off all electricity in the house. I said, okay, I'll go to bed. It's going to be uncomfortable times. It's not a balanced. When you get there, when you make it, when you're consistent, when you go through all your rules, when you know how to behave psychologically, when you know not to go on tilt, when you know how to step away from the market, when you receive a loss instead of compounding the losses, when you have a system in place that you follow, I'm telling you, yes, life gets easier for sure. Congratulations. That's much bigger than the amount of money that you're going to make. I would not, you couldn't pay me. There's no amount of money that you could pay me if I got to sit at my computer from market open until the market close. You couldn't pay me. I don't care if you could make $1 million. That's miserable to me. I don't want to be at my computer all fucking day just to make $1 million. It's not worth it to me. I have precise moments that I like to trade, and it lets me know rather quickly within the first couple hours of the market. And you can potentially make tons of money doing that. That's great. And I feel like I'm there. But that fear of the stop loss, I got to get over that fear. I can't look at it so damn bad where if I get a loss, I immediately feel I have to gain it back. And when we think about it, I'm hopefully you guys can maybe you guys can't hear me if I leave my. And when you think about it, a lot of this shit is geared to correct your mistakes at the moment when maybe you need to step away for the day. Oh, look for another opportunity. Look at the 5 minute, the 2 minute, the 1 minute, the 13 second. So you're constantly in and out of the market all day. And I'm telling you, it only gets worse. There's very few opportunities where you can make back your loss. As long as I've been doing this, man, there's very few opportunities where you get back in and it worked out. You made back your losses. Maybe you stepped into profit. It was your biggest fucking day. Those moments are rare. But that's how we're trained. Well, look for another opportunity. Go to a different product. Go to gold. Go to currencies. And we're just stuck. We're just compounding our losses. when we should just learn how to just log out of the brokerage and do and study what just happened. I know tomorrow's a long way from here. When we're thinking in seconds, minutes, ticks, thinking about tomorrow is so far from here. You take a stop loss, you say, okay, I'm done for the day. It's so far. When we're thinking in the short time frames and mindsets that we have, you'd be like, tomorrow. Especially if you only trade a particular session like myself, US session. I'm like, ooh, I gotta wait all the way until 3 o'clock tomorrow. It may have been the best decision that you have made. You could have been well in advance of your goals by now. Passing evaluations, ending the month in profit, getting payouts. I don't know how to get around it. That's my biggest thing. I don't know. But eventually, or I'm becoming sick and tired of these other things that I do. Yes, this year, the volatility, the geopolitical thing, it's tough. And I do believe if you learn how to trade this market at this particular time, it could provide a lot of opportunities to grow wiser, to learn, to make you definitely better. We can easily look at it from a broad lens and say, oh, the market is extraordinary. It's up 73, on the S&P, up 70, but it's the struggle for the day trader that can trade on both sides of the aisle, that can buy and sell, that has their strategy in place, their analysis in place, their algorithms in place or whatever. And you're just like, damn, But I got to get over that fear of having a loss on the books and just accept it and stop trying to jump back in to fix it. That's not how my strategy is built. It's not built where I could wait 5-10 minutes and look for an opportunity. It's a single strategy, a single approach that happens at a specific time every day. And if you miss it, you have to be mature enough to be disciplined enough to be like, all right, if not, I'm not going to be successful. No matter how good my strategy is, I'm not going to be successful. And it's frightening. When I think about the difference between my success and my failure, is me. Is that simple? Is that simple tweak? Honor your stop loss. And it's so hard for me. Sorry for cursing again. It's so hard for me. Let's move on. All right, so this is the calendar so far. This is yesterday. Look at that. I could have walked away with $263 loss. Instead, I let conviction blind me, and that decision cost me $929.91. But the financial hit was only the beginning. The emotional weight of a losing trade triggers a dangerous spiral, depression, anger, and sleepless nights. When mental fog sets in, a bad trade stops being about money and starts being a battle for your mental health. Like last night, like yesterday, I was mentally exhausted. I said, look at me. Look what I did to myself. And had I took that loss, $263 loss, I would have still been okay. I would have still had a little profit, right? You see, on May 1st, I had a nice day, $308. Trading my strategy, trading my plan. It was profitable. And yeah, I would have given up some of that profit, but I wouldn't be I wouldn't have gone on tilt. And we looked at it on our last calendars for the month of April. And now we're seeing it again in this month. This can cost me already. And the month has just started. I only got $70 in drawdown. I don't know. I don't think that's going to work out. Anyways. Trading psychology, loss aversion, and sunk costs. This is ChatGPT helped me out with this. The psychology behind your words. If you're wondering if there's support for what you're saying, researchers have studied these exact feelings for decades. Loss aversion. Studies by Daniel Kahneman showed that the pain of losing is twice as powerful. Should I repeat that? The pain of losing is twice as powerful as the joy of gaining. This is why we hold on to losing stocks. We are biologically wired to avoid the pain of hitting the sell button. You see how markets play into our psyche? We're on an uphill battle, believe it or not. I don't care what you say. The pain of losing is twice as powerful as the joy of gaining. This is why we hold on to losing stocks. We are biologically wired to avoid the pain of hitting the sell button. The sunk cost fallacy. You likely felt that because you had already invested time and emotion, you had to see it through to a win, even as the evidence pointed the other way. I felt like I said, I spent my time and energy, long nights getting through my analysis. And what if the next day is a holiday or an FOMC day, or I don't get any, whatever, and I got to sit on my hands? Those are also hard moments. Those are twice as powerful as a day where I'm green. When I made that $308 on May 1st, I was happy. I was like, oh, good, job done. We move on. But it's true. When you're in a position where you in a losing position, it's very powerful. It's very, very powerful. And by reading this, I'm glad to understand how difficult it can be. Decision fatigue, the mental fog and sleepless nights you mentioned create a feedback loop. When you are sleep deprived, your prefrontal cortex, the logic center, slows down, making you more likely to make another emotional mistake. I think I was that yesterday. I think I was tired from the driving to the airport, back home, from Malaga to Granada. Staying up, only getting a few hours of sleep, 2 to 3 hours of sleep. Mix that in with the loss aversion. Mix that in with sunk cost fallacy. Of course you're going to be on tilt. Anyways, so there you have it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to have a little bit of breakfast and try to make my way to the sauna. And I look forward for today's trade. Today's trade is going to be, I'm shooting for, like I said, I only got $70 in drawdown. It's another, I would say, volatile setup for me. And so I'm just going for a quick 16 ticks. So I'm not going to go for the second trade, not on this particular setup that not for today. All right. So hopefully you can execute that. I'll be damned if today's a down day, a severe down day. I'll be like, well, doesn't that happen sometimes? You'd be like, oh, yesterday I wanted the market to sell off. And what if it happens today? So it's those things that you constantly battle with. But hey, I just don't have enough drawdown room. I'll take the 16 ticks, move on, buy myself at least another day. So yes, all right. Have a great day. I look forward to speaking with you guys soon. Bye-bye.